A good brand book is actually more important than the design of a logo. I've actually had situations before where I've seen clients with a fantastic logo. They haven't got a brand book yet. And during the process of putting together their brand book, because obviously the advertising continues, that they've even had huge billboards with their products and services on, but they didn't even have their logo. It was their logo recreated in Helvetica. Can you imagine if Coca-Cola did that, where they decided to put one of their billboards up, but because they didn't have their logo, they decided to do it in Times New Roman? It would actually look fake, and the same could be said for yourself. In fact, every time you don't use your logo, you're wasting money because you're not building up brand recognition for that specific style, that specific logo, and that specific feeling that you're supposed to be portraying that your clients can empathize with. One of the main reasons why customers don't necessarily want a brand book is because of the cost implication. 20 years ago, they were particularly expensive. And the reason why they're expensive is because within the brand book, it shows every single eventuality of what your logo should look like across every single marketing media in existence. Now, of course, these days, brand books are not required just for huge blue chip companies, not just the Coca-Colas of this world or Hewlett-Packard or Microsoft, because all of us now have a representation to deliver. Because all of us now tend to actually have a logo and a particular image we need to portray, most of us actually need this. But we don't advertise across all of these different types of marketing media. Now, 10 years ago, I wrote an article that explained what a cut down version of this brand book should look like, cutting out all of the things that the average size company wouldn't need. And believe it or not, it's actually changed again. Quite a few of these things we don't actually need. Before we actually go through this, you need to understand the fundamentals of branding. And instead of me repeating it all over again, which I've done on numerous occasions, I actually have a video that you can go and have a look at first. I've got time, I will wait here for you. And when you've finished, come back and we will go through this. Okay, welcome back. Here's the article. Well, the beginning of the article explains a little bit more about the importance of a brand book in relation to branding. You've watched the video, so we don't need to mention that. The next title says, what is a brand book? Well, a brand book, or as we call in the UK, or used to call in the UK, a corporate identity reproduction guide, is basically a written document that explains everything you need to know in order to replicate this logo in the best way possible across different types of marketing media. This is really important. It's a document that you can give different types of designers and individuals involved in your marketing to make sure that what they deliver is on point first time. It's not a case of you just saying do your best and when they come back tell them all of the revisions. You can really get this done first time. It will save you a lot of time, it will save you a lot of effort, it will save you a lot of money, and it will save you a lot of stress. The first bullet point is the brand's history overview. It's very important that anyone who's designing something that represents your company understands a bit about the company's history. This can help them to a certain degree set the tone. The next bullet point says the vision, personality, and key values. Well, that is the tone. But to have the history behind it as well, that also helps. Next on the list is logo schematic and specifications, including tagline usage. Now, this is particularly important. A lot of companies' names don't actually state what the company does, and it's the tagline that is supposed to facilitate that. Also, what is particularly important is the tagline should have a specific type of font, and that needs to be specified and visualized in the examples. You will also find that a logo, because of the way it's designed, will look better with a certain amount of border around it in certain positions, and this is also provided within the visuals. Now, something else which is quite interesting to discuss, because although this had changed 10 years ago, it's sort of changed again, and that's to do with the color palette. In order to ensure that the colors are correct across every type of marketing media, you need to provide the actual color sets as follows. The first one, which is particularly important now and should take a priority because most marketing media, especially on the internet, is upon a screen, is the RGB. RGB stands for red, green and blue. and a combination of these colors from 0 to 255 will actually accurately depict your color. The second one is CMYK, which is cyan, magenta, yellow and black. This is used for print media, and it's almost identical to RGB, but in reverse. And the B, which is for black, is to account for the fact that most marketing media is on a white background. And if you were to have all of these three colors together without the black, white plus these three colors making black would make gray. So you need the black to make sure black is black. Now the last one on the list, which I would go as far as to say is not necessary anymore, is that of Pantones. You see, before 4-color process became cost effective, the only way you could really afford to get printing done was by using spot color, single colors. And that is printed in a very similar way that you would paint your fence. You actually choose a specific color and you paint that color. So your Pantone colors are, if you've got a specific blue, you will have a Pantone reference for that blue. You actually get that ink in a specific color and you do the printing in that color. Well, the problem is there is not a Pantone color for every CMYK reference. So what they would do is choose the closest Pantone color. Well, the problem with that is if you choose a Pantone color and that specific media, whether it's for silkscreen printing, litho printing, or even vinyl cutting, where they will cut out the vinyl in that color, they will choose a color that's as close to that Pantone as possible. Well, as you can imagine, if you're going from an original CMYK value to Pantone and then another one, you could actually be 3 variations out. So just by showing the CMYK and them choosing the closest Pantone that they have available to that color, it's going to be more accurate. So these days, I don't even put the Pantones in there. Next on the list is approved fonts and typefaces. This is particularly important because part of branding is to try and invoke certain emotions within your customers that they can empathize with and want to be part of your business. A font that you would choose for a solicitor's firm, for example, which is perhaps more serious in nature, is not going to be applicable for that of a kindergarten, and vice versa. So choosing these specific fonts and making sure that they are used across all marketing media will help get the look and feel that you're trying to achieve every time. Something else which you will usually find in brand books, and I cut them down from the original stationery, which would include business cards, letter-headed paper with compliment slips, and even the design of how it should look on an envelope. I cut that down 10 years ago to just the business cards and the letterheads. These days, however, you'll be amazed how many people don't even use letterheads anymore, don't send out that many letters, and if they do, they're quite happy to print the letterhead as part of the letter through their laserjet printer or their inkjet. So I would go as far as to say the letter-headed paper is not necessary, and I wouldn't even put the design for the business card on there anymore. And I will explain to you why. You've already heard me explain that if you want a logo designed, you should be going to a logo designer where it's their niche market, because they will be more specialized and they will get the job done a lot better. It is their specific niche market and they should be the one who are providing your logo. Well, the same can be said for business cards. If you go to a small outlet that all day, every day, they just create business cards, they're going to be much better at providing a better service than someone who is perhaps more used to just doing the logos. And by providing them the brand book as it is, that explains how the logo should be, what fonts should be used, what colors should be used, and the image you're trying to portray is obviously all they need to do to be able to do a better job for the designing of your business card. The same could be said for banner advertising. If you want to have a huge banner, I would go as far as to say, use the designer within the organization that is going to be providing your banner. Because it's something they do every day, they're going to know what type of point size is going to be more easy to read than another type of designer who doesn't do this type of advertising on a regular basis. And by not putting in visuals that show exactly how it should be, you are giving them more creative freedom to do what they do best. The other thing I really like about this is usually the design for a banner or a business card is a loss leader for the company. They just want to provide that service so they can make their money on the printed medium or the actual advertising such as the banner. So therefore, you are going to get someone far more superior at doing the design work because they do it every day, and it's going to cost you less. So as you can see, by the time we've gone through all of this and created a very concise brand book This is something that you can throw at the business card company, throw at the banner design company, throw at the leaflet company. Leaflets again, it's something that a leaflet designer is going to be better at doing if they do it every day. And the same can be said for your website, so on and so forth. By the time you have reduced the seriously padded out conventional brand book down to this, which is what every single type of company should actually need at a minimum. Instead of 200 pages, you've actually got this down to about 8. You're not wasting time, you're not wasting money, and you're giving people within your team and your organization everything they need in order to do their job properly and help fulfill and deliver your brand. Okay, well, if you actually have a look, you will find there are some links to examples of PDFs that I've created in the past of brand books, and you will see that they do exactly what they say on the tin. Now, when I design a logo these days, I don't actually design logos anymore without a brand book. There is no point. And considering I have to do all of the research in order to design the logo in the first place, and I have to choose the colors and I have to choose the fonts, it makes sense to spend a little bit of extra time creating the brand book. So that's what I do. Before I design a website, however, or any of the other services that I offer, if the customer does not have a brand book, I do my best to explain why they need it. And then from then, once we have the brand book, we can then move forward. Well, I hope you found this video informative. I hope it helps you understand what I'm trying to say. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. Thank you for watching.